took 4 long days, but just before noon today, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris clinched their victory, with all major networks predicting they will have the Electoral College votes needed to win. Here it is, the state putting them over the 270 mark. Pennsylvania, Nevada followed this afternoon. That makes it 279. There are still 4 states undecided: Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, and Alaska.
And here in the city, people took to the streets almost immediately, and they've been celebrating and demonstrating all day long. Chopper 4 sending us live pictures right now from Washington Square Park in the Village, where you can see these large crowds gathered, celebrating for nearly 7 hours now. And the president-elect is expected to address the nation at 8 o'clock tonight. This right here is a photo of his grandkids giving him a big hug when they first heard the news that their granddad was declared the winner. We do have team coverage tonight from Wilmington to Washington and all over our area. Let's start with News 4's Adam Harding, and he is live from Delaware. Adam?
Good evening to both of you. A history-making day here. President-elect Joe Biden now set to address the nation in the coming hours. And there is widespread reaction tonight. So many here in Delaware cheering on the man that they have known now for decades in Congress. They are thrilled now that he is the president-elect, and just a short time from now is set to speak to an entire country after waiting days for the presidential election to be called. Joe Biden is the president-elect, the projected winner of a contentious election. Pennsylvania Saturday, the deciding state.
We did it. We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States.
Vice President-elect Kamala Harris calling the soon-to-be 46th Commander-in-Chief. The future First Lady on Twitter tonight sharing this photo, saying her husband will be a president for all of our families.
We're going to win this race with a clear majority with the nation behind us.
The Biden team all week confident they'd pull out a win. The president-elect receiving more votes than any candidate in U.S. history. Tonight, crowds are gathering in Delaware ahead of a national address.
Oh, I'm so happy. We're just so thrilled. He is going to bring back the heart and soul of this country. We just love Joe here in Delaware. We're just so happy. We can't even, we cried tears of joy today. It's a new day for us, a country.
And certainly a historic day for the entire country. Again, in about 2 hours, the president-elect now set to address the nation behind us here. So many of his supporters are now starting to pack into the parking lot. Many of them will be watching from their cars. Again, remember, when we talk about practicing social distancing, so many will be keeping in their cars. We've seen a number of people throughout the area where we are right now, waiting now several hours ahead of the president-elect's address to the nation. Of course, we'll be here all night gathering reaction and the message. We'll bring that with you, what the president-elect has to say. For now, we're live in Delaware tonight. I'm Adam Harding, News 4 New York.
Okay, Adam, we'll see you then. Thank you. No word tonight that President Trump has any intention of conceding anytime soon. He and his supporters have repeatedly and falsely declared victory. And while some Trump supporters are in the streets challenging the results right now, pro-Biden celebrations continue outside the White House. Our Checkey Beckford continues our coverage live from Washington, D.C. Checkey?
Well, Gelma, we're about a block away from the White House, and you can probably hear behind me and see as well the party that's taking place. Large crowds of people, despite there being a pandemic, many wearing masks, gathering outside and around and nearby the White House. It's been that way throughout much of the day, this celebration. Inside the White House, the president returned from a golf trip where he spent much of the day. That's where he learned that the race had been called for Joe Biden. Still, his campaign making it very clear that they have no intention of making a concession call to the Biden camp anytime soon.
A day of celebration in the nation's capital, with plenty of honking, hooting, and hope.
I'm excited. I got goosebumps, as you can see right there.
Reaction outside the White House, overwhelmingly exuberant that President Trump would not be there much longer.
I can't believe this day finally came.
Inside the White House, an uncharacteristically quiet President Trump. His campaign putting out a statement with more baseless claims of fraud, saying in part, the simple fact is this election is far from over. Joe Biden has not been certified as the winner of any states, let alone any of the highly highly contested states. But presidential contests have typically been called long before the results are certified. President Trump was at his Virginia golf course when multiple media outlets projected Joe Biden the winner. But just an hour before, the president falsely tweeted that he had won the election by a lot.
I think there's been too many votes stolen.
Some of his supporters buying into his claims.
What evidence do you have of votes stolen?
Ask Mayor Giuliani.
The president's personal attorney today again claiming voter fraud in Pennsylvania without providing any evidence.
As you know, from the very beginning, the mail-in ballots were a source of some degree of skepticism, if not a lot of skepticism, as being innately prone to fraud.
But again, Giuliani not offering any evidence of that fraud. Meanwhile, we have not heard from most Republican lawmakers who have been called upon to denounce the president's statements about the mail-in process. We're live in Washington, D.C. tonight. Checkey Beckford, News 4 New York.
All right, Checkey, thank you. Now, when word of Biden's victory hit the streets today, New Yorkers hit the streets, and they were filled with the sounds of celebration, including this one right here. It's outside Trump Tower. News 4's Phil Lipof is live in Times Square tonight, and he has reaction from both sides of this race. It looks still pretty packed there, Phil.
It does, Adam. For the better part of the afternoon, the crossroads of the world behind me look more like a Biden-Harris rally. It was really that way, as you say, all across the city and across the river out in New Jersey. Crowds swelling, celebrating the minute this race was called.
Greatest days for America.
For the folks here in Columbus Circle, this moment was 4 years in the making.
I jumped up and put my head out the window and cheered and cried.
The original plan was to have a protect the election results rally, but as they were setting up, the race was called for Biden and Harris. An impromptu dance party broke out. Not much social distancing, but almost everyone wearing a mask. There were bands and champagne, costumes and tears.
I'm just so happy that Trump is going to be out of office.
Rosemary Hardert is 15. She couldn't vote, but was invested in the outcome just the same.
Biden wins White House.
Across the river in Bedminster, New Jersey, dozens of Trump supporters gathered in front of his golf course. Hard to find a mask here.
The election is a total fraud. We all know it. Everybody knows it.
Clearly not ready to accept the results.
You're all liars trying to make it look like he lost. You're doing it. You're disrupting the votes. You're lying about the votes, and you're making people believe lies.
Back in the city, the rally was rolling. 70 million people voted for Donald Trump. So how hard is it going to be to unite a country that divided?
Well, he spent 4 years dividing us, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to put their energies into healing.
Past Trump Tower, ending in Madison Square Park, as we found a very American story. Cameron Khan is from Pakistan, been here 24 years, driving for Uber and celebrating what he calls a victory for America.
He's longing to stray.
No telling how long the celebration will go in the city tonight. The crowds are pretty steady here in Times Square. You'll have bursts of people cheering, music, bursts of cars beeping, but it's not your average New York City annoyed beeping tone. It's got more of a happy tone tonight. We're live in Times Square. Phil Lipof, News 4 New York.
Phil, thank you. In Arizona, supporters of President Trump are showing their displeasure with the outcome of the election. In Phoenix, dozens are gathering outside the Maricopa County Election Center, calling to, quote, stop the steal as votes are still being tallied there. News 4's Jonathan Dienst joins us now with a look at how we got to where we are today and what's ahead. And John, there have been no substantiated reports of voting misconduct.
Yeah, that's correct. Amid today's celebrations and protests, Biden's winning margin appears only likely to grow. Close margins in some states, but for the last 48 hours, most of the key counts were turning Biden's way, leaving the president to cry foul with so far no evidence. Some Republicans now congratulating President-elect Biden.
Biden supporters cheering in Philadelphia. Mail-in ballots from that city sealing the victory. Pennsylvania critical, turning out to be Biden's easiest, but not his only, path to victory. For more than 3 days, both sides short of 270. But the Biden camp knew Pennsylvania could provide the knockout blow. And if not, Nevada and Arizona could do it. As protesters rallied outside where votes were being counted in the swing states, those counting the ballots took oaths to do the job right, taking time to count record number of ballots, many by mail.
Strength of the integrity of this vote is really unparalleled.
After Pennsylvania came in for Biden, and later Nevada too, New York Senator Schumer had this message for President Trump.
Go home to Florida.
Some Republicans accepting the result, Maryland's governor offering congratulations to President-elect Biden. Senator Mitt Romney also congratulated Biden and Harris, saying, "We pray that God may bless them in the days and years ahead." Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn also seemingly resigned, tweeting, "A Democratic majority in the Senate would cinch the radical agenda of the left." President Trump vowing legal fights, even though his electoral vote count loss is growing.
And then our numbers started miraculously getting whittled away.
His road to victory was a narrow one. The president needed Pennsylvania, plus several other swing states, to pass Biden and get over the 270 electoral vote hurdle. But with states like Georgia still too close to call, and with Trump falling behind most remaining states, with the mail-in ballots still being counted, it seems it would only be a matter of time before Biden would be declared the winner. The New York Post editorial page, which supports President Trump, today said there is no evidence the election was stolen. The Post wrote the president should ask for the recount he's entitled to, wish Biden well, and look to the future. In the newsroom, Jonathan Dienst, News 4.
All right, Jonathan, thank you.